Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Paddy. I'm the business unit leader here at ES Tech inside ECI. I'll let Ben and Andy go ahead and introduce themselves. Ben, take it away.
I'm Ben Jarvis. I'm the product manager for Horizon.
Also, Ben, I was expecting a bit more of a blurb there, so thanks, man. And I'm Andy. I'm with the Evolution side of the business here, so I do a very similar job to Ben, so helping look after the product and making sure we're building cool stuff for the customers, so being the bridge between the customers and the DevOps team.
There you go. Alrighty, guys, I think with the time that we have today, we've got an hour and we do have a hard stop at the top of the hour, so I need to be out of here for 4. So we're going to rush through this, cover all the things that we want to cover today, and really we're going to split the call up into 2. So there is a lot of existing EvolutionX customers on the call here, so it might not make sense for you to stick about and have an EvoX demo. We understand that. So what we're going to do is, it's really a follow-on from the previous new features webinar that we did a couple of months ago, and it's a deeper dive into the integration between EvoX and Horizon. So in that call, we talked about plans that we had made to do the integration work, showed some of the integration points working. This is almost like the next level of detail underneath that. And so we're going to deep dive into that detail where we'll actually set records up on Horizon and show you those things syncing in real time up to EvoX. We'll cover generally the data points that sync. We're going to do more showing than telling. I always think that's important, right? If you really believe in it and if it's robust and if it works, just show it. Don't talk to people about it. So we're going to show it today. And that's all going to take 20-25 minutes time. We're then going to set some expectations about when that's going to become available and how people get it. And then once we've got to the end of that, we're probably at 20-25 minutes at that point. Anybody who would like to see an EvoX demo can stick around for the next 35 minutes and I'll cover that. And if you're already an EvoX customer and you feel like you're an EvoX ninja and there's nothing else you need to know about EvoX, then you are welcome to drop off the call at that point and we'll get you 30 minutes back in your afternoon. So if that all sounds good to you guys, we will go ahead and get started. So I am going to pass you over to Ben to kick us off here. So Ben, over to you.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, we're going to be having a bit of a demonstration of the new integration. It's going to be, as Paddy's mentioned, a bit more in depth than what we've shown previously. We're going to split it up into roughly 3 different parts. So I'm going to take you through some of the options that we've got in the Horizon Evolution export. We're going to have a look at a brand new trader being set up from Horizon into Evolution. And then we're going to have a look at some of the really cool stuff that you get available in EvolutionX with some of the new data that we're syncing across. So first thing I need to do is jump out of here and we'll jump into Horizon and take a look. And I'll just get some confirmation from people we can still see my screen.
Yes, sir, we got it.
Excellent, that's what we like to have. Now, if we go into utilities and we go into Evolution Export, we're going to see a screen that a lot of you are probably quite familiar with. You'll see at the top here, we've got EvoX API. This is the new tab. This is where all of the new magic is going to be happening. And we've got a few new settings under here I just want to get you familiar with. It's not a place you're going to be spending every day. This is really just to get you familiar with the basic workings of this Evolution export. It's going to get you past your setup, past your migration, and well on your way into using the actual export itself. So on the top here, we've got name, which can be anything, and we've got token, which has to come from our hosted team. It's a unique key, and you'll get that when we first set you up. Underneath that, we've got a little box called format. That is a brand new feature that we've put in. Previously, we've only been able to share flat file information, but with this new tick box, we're able to share and integrate into some of Evolution's parent and child customer account settings. It is something that you can change any time. We do recommend having a little bit of a chat with the people who are setting you up, just to make sure that you're going to continue on with your information presenting in a way that you want it to. We've also got a little tick box for approver details on there, and then we've got 2 familiar boxes. we've got customers and we've got item and product deals. Obviously, we're going to recommend that you tick both of those because we want both of those pieces of information to come through into Evo. We've still got the live pricing API. That's not gone anywhere. That's still going to be doing all of the live pricing work. What we're doing here with item and product deals is specifically products and items from contracts. And we've got in here a couple of frequency boxes and some times as well. We've got daily, weekly, monthly. We recommend setting those to daily because that's the shortest time period we've got at the minute. And we recommend having something set for early morning. We've been able to drastically reduce the amount of time that it takes to do these syncs. So it's no longer of an issue of waiting for some of this information to sync across. But setting it in early morning, it just means that you're going to have the most data at the best time of day. We've also got a little box on here, which is very useful when you're setting up a new migration called Trader Filter. And if you put a trader code in there, it's going to filter just on one trader code, or if you put in less codes in there, it's going to filter just to a few. And that's going to allow you to have a little bit of a test and try out some of the features before you go into full-blown data swap across to Evo. You'll also note we've got 2 boxes on here, run now, and we'll be using those throughout the demo. And I just wanted to highlight in here that we've got logs. The team has put some work in to make sure that these logs are more detailed, they're slightly more verbose, so you get a better idea of what's happening with your link. You get more ideas of what's being successful. And as a little hot tip on here, if you click at the top and filter by E, you can identify if Evolution Export's finding any issues with some of the data that you're sending over. So this is going to direct us to the exact trader we need, which is Dan Test. It's going to direct us to a contact called Test, and it's going to tell us that there should be an email in here, and there isn't. We can easily resolve that, and we can continue on with the export. So I don't expect people to be living in here, but a good working knowledge of what this does is really going to help you when you upgrade onto this. So the first thing that we want to talk about and go through is setting up a new trader. So we followed best practice on this new trader. We've got code, name, we've got address, we've got valid postcode, and we've also got on here country code. Now, this might be something that you've got in your system already. Some people might not have this set up. It's not been a mandatory field before in Horizon. If you're wondering where to set that up, you can go into Setup, and you can go into Country here, and you can add code and country name. If you're also thinking, oh God, Ben, I've probably got a few hundred of these that I'm going to need to update, we are working on a really simple way that's going to allow you to populate this field across loads of different traders at once. So don't worry too much about this when it comes to data entry, but in terms of best practice, we need to make sure that country code is in there. You'll also note that we've got account manager, we've got key contacts set for this trader as well. We've got departments added in, IT and sales, and we've also got a branch set up as a type D, so we've got a delivery. We take a look in our contacts, just for a little bit of contacts, best practice. We need to ensure that we've got a contact display name, email address, and under the web tab, we need to ensure that we've got this allow web access ticked. Once we've got all of those things, we're then going to be able to communicate across and share some of that data with Evo. So we're going to go and do that now. So we're going to bring back the Evolution export, and we're going to run customers now. What that's going to do, that's going to take that information and transfer it up to Evo. And whilst it's doing that, we need to worry about prices. So we're going to go into contracts, We're going to have a look, a little demonstration contract that we've made in here. Really small, just the one product. So we've got a KF24001 on there, and we've got the contract price of 20. And again, best practice, we need to make sure that we've got item or product deal set in scope. And on the Error Analysis tab, we need to ensure that we've got web enabled ticked. There we go. As long as we've got those things covered, that's going to send pricing across to Evo. It's going to go across, and then we're going to run item and product deals. So what I'm going to do is we're going to shoot across into the back end of Evolution. At the minute, we've got nothing here for Jarvis Tech, which is the company we're sending across. If I want to do a little refresh, we're going to see them pop in. And we can also review the information that's come across from Horizon into Evolution. So we can have a look in here, scroll down and see that we've got our account manager that's come across for us. We've got our address and our delivery address for the branch that's come across. That's absolutely fantastic. We've got all of our cost centers have come across, and we've got all of our users come across as well. So we've had everything sync as we expected it to. I could go into Ben Jarvis, and then we can log on to an Evolution storefront. And what we're going to do from there is going to have a little look for our contract time and have a look at our contract price. So we've got that come through. We've had it come through at the £20 that we need as well. So successful sync, that's fantastic. What I'm going to do is, I'm sure what a lot of people are going to do after successful sync, which is fiddle around with it, because the one thing about contracts is we always need to be updating prices. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to modify this price to 25. And I'm going to take a look at that trader, and we're going to change a few details around. Maybe we've made a few typos. Maybe there's a couple of things that we've got wrong. So let's put an LTD in there. And let's go into my contacts. Maybe Janet should be Jane. Maybe there should be no J on there. So we're going to confirm that. I'm going to go back into utilities, and we're very quickly going to run customers. We're going to run item deals. Now for the contracts, that's twice now that we've changed some pricing, and I just want to highlight a really good EvolutionX feature that I was really impressed with the first time I saw, and that's ERP live pricing. Now this might not sound terribly exciting to some of you on this, but having worked in support, having ways to shorten investigation time and shorten the amount of time that you guys have to wait for questions to be answered is fantastic. To have a tool that does that is really useful. So what the Evo guys have got on here is every single query for pricing that's happened. So here's the two interactions that we've had on here. We've also got the code that EvoX sent to request the information, and it's got the response back. That is absolute gold to us, because that means that we get a rock solid idea of what's going on in the system, and we can answer any questions based on it. So just want to point that out. That is a fantastic thing to have. It's a fantastic thing to know about, because when you're logging a ticket, talking to support, something like this is going to get you a much better, much quicker experience straight from the off. So if we jump back into company, we'll see that we've got my LTD has been added. And we've also got Janet back to Jane, and we're missing the J on Ben Jarvis. If I have a little look and see what's happening with our contract pricing, we can also see that's updated to 25. So again, we've got successful sync that's happened across on there. One of the things I wanted to show related to pricing is one of the new things the guys have been working on. If you go into the application store, you'll notice that ECI Horizon has got an option on here, and we've added in a site-wide option to include quotes with live pricing. So this is also mimicking some Horizon behavior. So when you add in a sales order for a customer, if it finds a valid quote, it's going to offer you up at that point, do you want to use the quote price? Do you want to use the contract price? So what we're saying here is that we want to use the quote price from Horizon. And I'm going to take a little look in here. Of course, I've made a quote already. And I've put a different price up on here. So we should be reading £17 for our product. Let's jump on. Do a quick refresh. We've got that appear at 17. Now, as I said, I mentioned this was a live connection. This is constantly reading from Horizon. I'm going to confirm at £10, and this is going to change at 10. And what this means is, as you're having a conversation with someone, as you're doing that quote, you can have it set so they are getting that price live in the site at that time. It's absolutely fantastic to be able to have such a quick response that you can have sent up to customers and interact with. I'm sure there's going to be tons of use coming out from that live quote price. But there are other things that we've got which are being instantly shared as well in the system. So we're still sticking in the front end of Evo, and we can see that we've got invoice history. Now, considering that this account has only just synced across to Evolution, we can already present the user with all of their sales invoice history. And not only that, as if I cheat a little bit, go into Sales Ledger and copy one of these. We can see immediately in Evolution, we're going to pop up with 469, next invoice in here. Again, no wait, that's just going to present itself immediately to the customer as soon as you've made it. Once inside, you're going to get full description of what that invoice is. You'll be able to add to basket per line. You'll be able to reorder all. You can see the payment status. Fantastic thing to be presenting to a user, and instant speed, as I mentioned as well. We look at orders. We can also see that we've got order history coming from Horizon. And again, this is on a sync that's just happened. So all this history is being pulled through into Evo. And one of the things I should have probably done already is place an order. And those orders are going to come across. We'll use that really good live quote pricing. Those orders are going to come across instantly and drop into Horizon. So if I go into my basket, I'm going to proceed to checkout. And I'm going to select our delivery branch address. Click continue on here. It's going to add delivery options. And the way we've got things set at the minute in Horizon for this particular trader is I'm going to ask for a PO number. So it won't let me pop in the order until I've put something in. So I'll put in ref 5. And we're going to place the order in there. Now I'm going to erase this into Horizon again. Sales orders and returns. And we'll see 519. We've had that sales order I just placed with the live quote price that we've ordered that's gone to our branch address and to our branch delivery address as well. So we've done all the steps, we've completed everything on there in a very short space of time, and we've got a lot of features available just from a couple of syncs.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to share for demonstrations. Just going to jump back into the presentation if I can.
Ben, I have a few questions that's came up in the chat on the back of your presentation there.
Oh, excellent.
If you want me to just feed them to you now. So Matthew is asking, does the tool give any user feedback to let them know that it's started and or finished?
At the minute, that is sharing just in the log, but we are going to bring that to prominence in one of the future iterations that we've got. So we're working on a little bit of feedback, just so when you press that button, you know it's been pressed and a process is underway.
Okay.
So answer is not at the minute, but soon it will do, yeah.
Okay. Andrew McCallum is asking, does addresses transfer the correct account code, or does it still input a 0 in the account address?
So I can take that one, Paddy. So guys, the reason the 0 was populated was a hangover from the EvoLink process, where we didn't correctly understand what was an invoice address and what was a delivery address. So with this new integration, yeah, totally, that account code would come over with the address create. So that's always going to be matching up for you.
There you go.
Oh,
And then
thanks.
finally, our very own Doug Frost is asking, is there any contact restrictions going across as well, such as limited delivery address or contract only?
So I believe those will be going across. I might just have to have a quick double check, Andy.
So I believe that's phase 2. So that's on the next list. So what we've done is we've got all the stuff that EvoLink was doing well, plus the few extra bits that Ben just demonstrated really well for us just now. And then the additional bits like address restrictions, cost rent restrictions, things like budgets, they're next on our agenda to visit and how we can best get those up. Plus anything else from feedback, of course, later on from you guys for the next steps.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, actually, Andy. I mean, the way to think about this, guys, is this is a destination, not a journey, or it's a journey, not a destination. So it'll never really be done, and we're always looking for the next 2 or 3 things that we need to add to the integration. And over time, this will be the absolute best-in-class integration that we have with any ERP system. So it's already more robust than EvoLink. It's API-based. We've eliminated third-party software. We've expanded the amount of data points that we're integrating, including bringing in things like quote pricing and syncing account managers and all that stuff, and it will just get better from here on in. And there will be a consistent focus on this. So it's not like we're going to go away and do something else now. There will always be some resources in both teams working on this integration. Ben, that was awesome, mate. Thank you so much for that. I think we'll go back to the slides.
Paddy, that we didn't have pop up, which I really expected. You can see the slide that I've got on here. Is that correct?
Yes, mate. Got it.
I was fully expecting the first questions to be, when can we have it? So we're going to be rolling out from July. We're going to have a lot of people want this all at the same time, and rightly so. We're going to have a little bit of a list, just so we can work on people in priority. Anyone on this call, we really appreciate your interest. We appreciate feedback as well. If you want to get on that list and make sure you're part of that first wave of migrations, drop me an email. We can make sure that's formed and we're ready to go. And the other thing I just wanted to mention is, in terms of continuing and improving stuff around the link, we are going to have a product forum meeting. So we'll extend that out to everyone on this call. We've got some really cool ideas. Evolution team have had some fantastic ideas of what we want to do next. What's really important for us is to get some customer buy-in on that, to show what you guys think is valuable, and for us to prioritize that appropriately. So you guys will see an invite to that product forum meeting soon. We'll arrange a date that will fit with everybody. And have we got any more questions, Paddy, or is that us on the demo?
No, I think that's pretty much us, Ben. And I think the other thing that's obviously on everybody's minds, guys, is to leverage this new integration. There is no additional cost to what you're already paying. So no additional cost to move to this version of the integration, which is awesome news. Happy days. Alrighty, I think we've covered all the main points here. Ben, what else do you have for us, or is it over to me now?
That's all from me, Paddy. If
Take a
you're
well-deserved break. So guys, if any Evolution customers do want to stick on, there is probably one thing that would be worth hanging around for, which is as part of this demo, I'm actually going to show you ChatGPT working inside EvolutionX, which is a brand new feature that just came out of the chute last week. It will be getting rolled out to everybody within a few days, but you will see that as part of the demo. So if you feel like you've seen all the other stuff, the obvious stuff, if you want to hang around for 20, 30 minutes, you will see the ChatGPT thing towards the end of the demo. It's extremely cool. I will warn you in advance. Alrighty. So Ben, if you pass the
I'll hand over to you,
controls back to me. Guys, if you can just keep an eye on the questions here and just maybe get back to a few people now that I'm moving on to demo mode, that would be awesome. So, okay, just let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yeah, see that, Paddy.
Yep, we can see
You got
that.
it? All right, very good. Okay, so guys, I'm going to blast through a real fast EvoX demo. It's going to take 25 to 30 minutes. I'm going to cover the ChatGPT thing right at the end. I will skip over as much of this as I can, understanding that the bulk of the audience is existing customers. There are a few non-EvoX customers in there, so I will cover maybe stuff that existing guys would find obvious, but I think it's worth covering for the guys who are not customers. So real fast, good place to start on the demo is look and feel. And we have tons of different options on look and feel. And so wherever you are on the sophistication curve, you don't have any technical resources internally, you have access to a web developer, or you've got your own design team, or you just want somebody to take care of that for you, wherever you are in that sophistication curve, then we do have good options for you. So a good place to start on look and feel is, how do we get to a theming system where you can get meaningful things done with no technical expertise whatsoever? Well, the way that you do it is you move to a drag and drop system. So everything you can see on the page here is drag and drop. So the logo is a widget, search is a widget, shop by department's a widget. And when you start to think in terms of widgets, then you can resize and reposition those widgets anywhere on the canvas, and you can do it with no IT skills at all. So let's do something really simple here. Let's say we wanted to push shop by department up above this search area. Okay, most other platforms, it's a ticket into web development. It's a small lead time. It's probably a little invoice as well, and that sucks because you're in business, you're trying to move fast and get things done. So the EvoX version of that story is you go into your admin panel and you drop into the appearance section and you go to layouts and you bring up the home page. And what you're going to see is that widget-based representation of how the screen gets made up. So all we need to do is take shop by department, push it up above Find My Product, save and publish, come back to the home page, hit refresh, and bingo, you're done. Okay, zero skill required at all. A monkey could do it. But I kind of know what you're thinking. Yeah, that's really cool, Paddy, but show me something a bit more chunky than that. Fine, we will then. So I'm going to do a search for a fellows shredder. And I'm going to get back a whole bunch of fellow shredders. Now, the really cool thing about this page is there's tons going on. You've got a product summary widget, you've got an add to cart widget, you've got an also consider widget, you've got a marketing copy widget, and you've got a specs widget. But the same rules still apply. We can take these widgets and reposition them anywhere on the canvas. So when I look at this page, I'm thinking, do you know something? Specs is taking up a ton of space. I want to load that in its collapsed state rather than its expanded state. I want to bring the also considers, which right now are running down the right-hand side of the page in a vertical grid, and I actually want to make them a horizontal carousel that runs left to right, and I want to push that up above description. Well, if you wanted to do that anywhere else, they are big changes that you're making because you're fundamentally altering how this page works. And so that would be a much bigger ticket into web development. It'd be a much longer lead time. So the EvoX version of that one is you go back into layouts, and this time you bring up the product layout. Same rules, here's your widget-based representation. So all we need to do is go into specs. We're going to load that in its collapsed state. We need to take also considers and move them into this column. Push them up above the description. Go into the properties of that widget and change it from a grid to a carousel. Save and publish. Come back here and hit refresh. And boom, you've completely altered how that page works. And again, You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do it. So that's the anybody can do it tool set, right? No skill required at all. What happens if you want to go a layer up? You want to start targeting fonts and colors and things like that. So we have like a power user tool set called theme options. So if I come back here and go into theme options, now you're going to get access to the underlying dials that control the theme. Okay, so now we can start looking at body stylings and target colors and fonts. Upload background images, target your header stylings, your footer stylings, buttons, H1s through H6s, even short with your own CSS and JavaScript, if you know how to do that. The very cool thing about this area is you can make a bunch of changes here, and once you've done that, you can go ahead and preview those changes before you go ahead and publish. That's extremely helpful. It's a multi-device preview, so you can see that preview on iPad, portrait, and landscape. You can also see what it's going to look like on the phone, portrait, and landscape. The other cool thing about this area is any changes you make here, the previous good version is always saved. So you can go back to that at any point. So let's say you make a change here, you go to the website, you hit refresh, and it just blew up somehow. You don't know what you did. Or you can just come back here and load the last known good version, and you're back to a safe space. So that's a really nice feature. The last option when it comes to look and feel, guys, is we have a world-class UI UX team here at EvoX. And if you just want somebody to take this on for you, then we can make websites that look like this, okay? So this is Codex. This is Ireland's largest business supplies dealer. And Codex just had a real vision in their mind of how they wanted the website to look, and they wanted us to bring it to life for them. And so Codex really wanted to celebrate Codex rather than leading with products. So now we have access to this beautiful website that we created. You've got these gorgeous kind of on-hover effects that are really nice. You've got these beautiful carousels that you can slide through. This is actually real work that's been delivered by the Codex Interiors team. If you come down here, we've restyled our item merchandising widget and made that really cool and beautiful. And we've also taken really basic stuff like our blogging module and restyled that to make that absolutely gorgeous. My favorite thing about the Codex website is these amazing full screen, high fidelity mega menus, which are just awesome, that lead to pages that look like this. And then if you click on that product, that leads to pages that look like that. So this is the level of fit and finish that can be achieved by engaging the custom design team. I'll just show you one more example of that, kind of a different take, which would be Egan Reid's website. This is their education site. In case any of these customers are on the call, don't panic. I am not telling people they can have your website. These are just representative examples of what the design team can achieve. So this is a different take. It kind of is leading with product. It's kind of education focused. It's a different type of look and feel. So there's basically nothing that can't be done when you engage the UI UX team. So that's the three options on look and feel. And wherever you are on the sophistication curve, it's okay. Everything's optional. You don't have to do anything. If you just want to roll with the standard drag and drop, that's absolutely fine. Okay, for the next part to make sense, I'm going to go ahead and log in as a customer. So let me go ahead and do it. 3, 2, 1. Boom, we're in. So I'm logged in as a customer. The first place you hit when you're logged in as a customer is this My Account profile page, and you get these tiles. And the tiles just tell you interesting things that's happening inside your account. But the same drag and drop principles apply to the tiles. So for example, if you're here and you don't want to see a big ugly face and you decide, you know what, I want to go full screen with save carts, you can make changes to how these tiles are laid out and represented, and it will save that change just for this end user customer when they log in the next time, which is really cool. Search is really important. How do you find products? So out of the gate, EvoX has got a very fast and a very good search with no tweaking or no configuration at all. So just turn the website on and search is going to work well with the product you've got available. However, there is a lot of control that we provide over search. So if you want to really get into the weeds on search and start identifying synonyms and misspellings and bringing in negative keywords and starting to target search redirects where you would redirect people on a search term to a landing page that you created just for that search term, there's a tremendous amount of control that we can bring to search to dial in something that's good for you and your customers. I'm going to go ahead and add some stuff to the basket. So I've added 4 products to the basket. I'm now going to go to the basket screen, and you're going to see the line items here. At this point, I can go ahead and apply cost centers to the line items. And of course, you guys know the importance of cost centers. So these are just values that mean something to the end user customer, and you can apply them to each line. And what you're basically doing is helping your customers with their cost allocation, because they can come back at the end of the month or the end of the quarter and say, give me a total spend breakdown by cost center for the last 90 days, the last 120 days. We're going to go ahead and check out at this point. So I'm going to proceed to checkout. It's going to throw up based on, the lovely demo you just saw from Ben. Okay, it's going to pull through from the ERP system, the billing and shipping addresses, and if there's multiples, they'll be available in the drop down. I can leave a delivery note. If I go ahead and click continue. Now I'm going to get presented with a bunch of shipping options. We've recently expanded this. There are very few people left who have tons of physical locations, but if you're one of the customers who has physical presences and you want to offer click and collect, we now have a really, really nice click and collect feature in the software. But this is just an example of a simple shipping rule that's coming up. And then once I've done that, it's basically asking, hey, how do you want to pay for it? Okay, do you want to pay for it with a credit card? Do you want to charge it to your account? If you're on a mobile phone, do you want to pay on Apple Pay, or pay using your face or your thumb? So tons of different options on how you would check out there. If I go to this menu here, this is the My Account area. And so in here, you saw the dashboard page. You've got your order history, any sales quotes. So this is where you, the dealer, can create quotes for your customers, and they can complete those quotes on the storefront. Frequently purchased items is a list that's auto-generated based on the customer's history, and over time, if they use the website long enough, this kind of becomes the only list they ever need, and that self-maintains itself. We have, of course, it's B2B, and people build orders over time, so we have saved carts, so people can save shopping carts, recover them, save them. It's that scenario where somebody starts the order on a Monday, saves it, brings it back up on the Tuesday, saves it again, sends it on the Wednesday. It covers all those different types of scenarios. The address book for the account, and if there's multiple addresses, they'll be available in here. Any saved cards on file, multiple users within the account. So if you're an admin user, you'll see other colleagues within the account. And then as an admin user or a sysadmin, you can even go into your colleagues if you've got the permission to do that, and you can actually set up how the account works for that employee. So you can say, okay, when Paddy logs in, he only gets to see items on his contract list, or he always has to add a PO number, or he always needs to enter a cost center on every line. And we can go to the nth degree on this, guys. We can put in place address restrictions, cost center restrictions, departments. We can even create budgets on the storefront and set up approval controls. Almost done on the front end here, guys. Just hang in there, and then we'll flip to the admin. You've got your contract items list. Ben's showing you how that would sync over from Horizon. And then list management. Quick lists are a really important concept within our platform. So in B2B, every metric we have on the software tells us that people build lists. That's what they do. And we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of lists across the network of stores. So I've got some test lists set up here. So I've got one called the Amazing Quick List, and the Amazing Quick List has a bunch of product in it. So lists have a name, they have product in them, and then we have nice list management features within these lists. So I could multi-select this and add these items to the cart as an example. Or I could multi-select this and move these items to another list, okay? Or I could multi-select these items and actually copy these items to a list. So there's tons that you can do on the list management side to make that side of the software very slick and just help customers with their repeat purchases, make that process really slick. Guys, that was everything I was going to show you on the storefront. We are now going to flip to the admin side of the product because we have very limited time, so I'm just trying to cover as much as I can. And anybody who wants a deeper dive after this, guys, on EvoX can reach out to Doug, who's on the call, or Ben, and we'll be very happy to set up a much more in-depth demo that's specific to you and your company. Alrighty, so this is the admin panel for the product, and this is where everything happens, right? This is where the magic happens. Everything you do in here impacts the storefront. So Ben's kind of showing you how customers can come up from Horizon. Here's an example of an account, Donnelly Accounting. The reason this Thundercats logo is showing up is that is an example of a customer specific logo. So back on the storefront, if I log out, you will see what the store logo looks like. And the system is basically telling the storefront, use this logo when this guy logs in. Cheapest thing we've ever done on the dev side. Never done anything that made more people happy. So customer specific logos, very easy to set up. Then, as Ben showed us, we've got the address book for the company, we've got all the contacts, we've got cost centers and departments, we can see their price plans that are set up, and if you're hooked up to the ERP system, that's all on autopilot from Horizon. You've got the quick lists, and I do think this would be a nice area. I won't front run any new development that we're doing, but quick lists or order pads in Horizon, it does seem like that's an obvious match, and that's probably something we'll look to integrate in the future. Next up, roles. Roles release permissions to users on the storefront. Okay, so there's 5 system roles that get you started. So there's the B2C, B2B, enterprise is split into 2, enterprise user, enterprise admin. If you go into a role, you'll see the granularity level of these permissions. So we can basically turn off individual modules, and we could turn off view, add, edit, and delete access. So if you say, right, Paddy, when my customers sync, I want them all to be attached to a role that lets them use the addresses that come up from Horizon, but I don't want them adding any new addresses or editing any new addresses. We'd build a role that does that. It's got a role ID, and that's what we're going to sync to. Product. Product is not something that's currently syncing from Horizon. The reason for that is 99% of people's product requirement these days tends to be Fusion data, and both Horizon and EvoX run Fusion content. And so the delta is very small. So there's no problem trying to solve that problem. EvoX has great support for own products, and that's going to continue to be our go-forward solution for own products. So you can add additional products, but Fusion kind of covers most people's requirement. If there's catalogs outside Fusion, then you can go ahead and import them, add them, or push them up through the API if you have the means and the technical expertise to do it. We've got really nice things like brand priority. So if you want QConnect or 5-star to come first, ValueX, if you want, if you're dropping into a specific category, let's say it's Post-it notes and you want 3M brand products to come to the top, you can do that as well. So there's tons of way to manipulate the product mix and the order of items. You can even set up swaps. Swaps is a really nice feature. So if I go back to the storefront and log in as a customer, we've got 2 types of swaps. We've got a forced swap and a suggested swap. I think the example I'm going to show you here is a suggested swap. So if I go ahead and try and add this to the basket, you're going to get this pop up, and it's going to say, hang on a minute, do you want this one instead? And here's the reason why you should take it. And so you get to control the reason, and you get to control the swap suggestion. That is a really nice way of directing customers to the products that you make more margin on and they might save money on. So really nice feature, utilized heavily within the platform. Obviously the orders show up in here, and if the customer's looking at their order view on the storefront, not only will they see orders they placed on the web, they're also going to see the orders that they placed offline in Horizon. So if an order came in on email or on fax, do we still have fax machines? I think we have fax machines. But if they come in on fax, email, through the telephone, when they go to their order history on the web, they're going to see that inclusive of all the offline orders as well, which is really nice. Pricing, you don't have to worry too much about that. It's going to sync up from Horizon. If you are not a Horizon customer, then you can control pricing inside EvoX standalone. We have a bevy of marketing features in all the different promotion types. So buy one, get one free, discount codes, subtotal discounts. You can limit discounts to different ranges of products, different brands of products. So you can say, use this discount code, but only on high back operator chairs. So that gets very granular, and it's really easy to target codes at different groups of products. We have probably the best implementation of abandoned carts anywhere, guys. This is the Mandy Rice Davis quote, right? He would say that, wouldn't he? But I'm telling you, we have B2B abandoned carts. B2C abandoned carts are too dumb for B2B because they basically say, hey, listen, if this guy abandons the cart and it goes longer than 20 minutes, send him an email offering him a discount code to close it. That does not work in B2B when people build orders up over time, or you're dealing with professional buyers. You don't want to be burning people out, sending them emails 10 times a day saying, hey, you sure you don't want to finish the order? So we have this ability to actually set up different groups of customers using these rules. So you basically create audiences, okay, and this audience is user type is registered user, total net value of the order is greater than 100. We could add to this and say, and where they've advanced to the checkout stage of in checkout, okay, and they've got the account label as lawyers, and we can just keep building up the conditions. And when all these conditions are true, then you can decide to take action, okay? So it's like, when all these conditions are true, send them this email. Then wait a day, then send them another email, then wait 3 days, then send a final email. Then you can set up a completely different audience, which might be your corporate buyers that you don't want to touch as regularly, and you can set up a different workflow for them. So you have this unlimited ability to create audiences, then create touch points and workflows that are unique to each audience. It's such a fantastic implementation, and it's working fantastically well. We have millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of recovered cart revenue in the last 12 months based on this feature. So if you aren't using abandoned carts, it's a no-brainer. You should be. Okay, we've got the App Store. So this is how we integrate with all the third-party services that orbit EvoX. And so you're going to see Horizon show up in here, which is down here. The one, and as I bring us home on the demo here, in fact, I'll maybe do another couple of minutes, then I'll bring us home, is this EvoX AI integration. And this is our ChatGPT integration. It's just super duper cool. I'll show you that in a second. But in the App Store, you're going to find payment gateways, you're going to find single sign-on, you're going to find new integrations like Akinio, which is a PIM system. So if you're managing your product content outside of EvoX and a PIM system, product information management system, then Akinio is a great product, does that really well, and now we have a really first-class integration with Akinio. Google Analytics, I hope everybody's got their GA4 game on. If you're not, the clock is ticking, so you need to move away from your standard Google Analytics and get GA4 implemented. I think that runs out at the end of this month. If you need punch out, we've got guys in here like Greenwing who do that stuff really fast and really inexpensively. So this App Store just keeps getting bigger all the time. And today there's dozens and dozens and dozens of integrations, and in the future there'll be hundreds of integrations with different services that orbit e-commerce. Andy, I don't want to sort of announce all new secret projects coming up on this webinar, but vPress is going to be the next thing to show up in here, right?
Corprint.
Sorry?
Corprint.
Corprint, okay, which will be a
Yeah.
print management tool that we've now integrated with. I thought we were doing vPress for somebody, but maybe I made that up. So
Maybe
we're
we do
constantly, yeah, we could be doing both. So we're constantly expanding the range of services that we integrate with. Just assume we're doing them all at some point between now and the world ending. Okay, right. Let's finish this section off by showing you the really cool part of this. So guys, what you never noticed and it was hiding in plain sight the whole time is this little widget up here. Okay, so this is our new way to interact with ChatGPT inside the EvoX platform. So here's the scenario, right? You work for a dealer, you're in marketing, and as you know, if you don't have great content on the website, it's going to be hard for the search engines to pick you up and take you seriously, right? So the search engines and your customers need rich content to keep them engaged. And I think we saw a fantastic example of that on Codex, right? Literally hundreds and hundreds of blog posts they've written about content that's super relevant to their customer base. But I'm in marketing, so what does this job look like traditionally? So let's say you wanted to write a blog post on, oh, I don't know, man, 24-hour operator chairs and their benefits, their impact on posture and back pain, right? That would be something relevant to your industry. It would be nice, feature-rich content that Google would love to consume, and then that could be an entry point into that category on your website. So using this EvoX AI chatbot, you could say, what's the 3 most important things to know about 24, why can't you type when people are watching? 24-hour operator chairs. Look away, you guys are making me nervous. Okay, so if I go ahead and click send, it does take a second or two. It takes between 5 and 10 seconds to come back because you're actually directly hitting up the OpenAI API in this case, and I'll show you how we set that up in just a second. So the system's thinking here, it's going out to ChatGPT and it's saying, well, when people think about buying a 24-hour operator chair, they're thinking about comfort as a serious consideration, and all the things around about comfort, durability, and ergonomics, okay? So I could use this interface to research this subject matter that I then need to go and write a blog post on. So now that I've researched the subject matter and I feel like I really understand what I need to go and write the blog post about, I can kill this, I can come over to blogs, I can go to all posts, go to new blog post. And can you see down here where you would typically type the content? There's a new area on the left that says edit the content of your post here. Need help? Ask EvolutionX AI to generate your blog post content. What do you want to write about? So I'm going to say I want to write about 24-hour operator chairs and their effect on back pain or posture. Was it posture? And back pain. Okay. Do you want the tone to be professional, casual, or funny? I want the tone to be funny. And do you want it to be short, medium, or long? I want it to be medium. I'm going to hit this button. Boom, it starts writing the blog post. Come on now. And it formats it in HTML. So what you can't see in the background is in the background, we are doing some prompt engineering. So when we send that off to the ChatGPT service, we're telling the system, oh, by the way, when you send the response back, format it into HTML rather than just one giant big block of text that I then need to format. So it'll do your H1s, your H2s, it'll paragraph things out, it'll put the line breaks in. Just phenomenal time saver. But it gets better. We ain't finished, guys. Hang in there. So I'm going to let it write this blog post, right? And it takes just a second because it is 450 word blog post. And look at the content. It's really good. Now, by the way, I have to stress this. I can't stress this enough. Do not just click save, okay? See this as a starting point, which you should then validate using your own experience and your own knowledge of the customers and the subject matter. It would be unwise to just hit save because ChatGPT sometimes gets things wrong. But you should see it as a fabulous starting point. Everybody's had that experience where they woke up one day, had to go write an email, could not think of anything to get off the blocks with. This is going to solve that problem and then allow you to make the fine adjustments, validate that you feel the content here is good before you go ahead and hit that save button. So the blog post is written, but now we need an excerpt and we need to figure out what the reading time is. So if we click here, then AI is going to figure out how long is it going to take a customer to read this, and it's going to publish that against the blog post. So people know before they read it, this is a 2-minute time investment to consume this blog post content. If I come down a little bit further, now we need an excerpt, we need a summary, we need that short summary that somebody would see on a grid view of why they should go and read that post. So now we're going to ask ChatGPT to read the blog post and then build us a summary of the blog post that it just wrote. So it's now going to come up with like a 100-word summary, which is really cool. And that's done. And then the final thing is, what do the search engines need to know about this blog post? What should the meta title be, the meta keywords, and the meta description? So with the context of the blog post, the excerpt, everything ChatGPT figured out about this as it was producing the content, it's now going to come up with suggestions of what the page title should be, what the keywords should be, and what the description should be. Now, come on, guys. How cool is that? Yeah. Let us know in the chat if you're digging it, and if you aren't, get off the call. So guys, that was pretty much everything I was going to show you as part of the demo here. This is recorded and we will send out the recording. The ChatGPT plugin will be coming to the App Store next week. It will show up like this, and all you have to do is register on OpenAI's website, get an API key, type it in here, hit update. We'll ask you to agree to a little EULA that will pop up. Once you've done that, you're done, and you can start enjoying this unbelievable functionality. And by the way, this is only the beginning for us when it comes to AI. We will be extending this capability to all other parts of the software. So you can imagine actually how you could solve business logic problems using AI. I always like to use this example. So imagine somebody's checking it through the website and they get to shipping rules. And you guys love to have your shipping rules complex, right? You're like, Paddy, if it's over 100 quid and it's stationary, send it free. But if he's got a damn chair on there, charge him an extra 24 quid. But if he orders 10 damn chairs, do it for free. It's very hard to write the business logic for this and create all the tables that supports it. It's actually much easier if we send all that information in free text, do some prompt engineering, send that to the model. Tell the model how you want the shipping rules to work, and then feed the order lines into the model at checkout. So we have a lot of crazy plans for this functionality, and you're going to see this type of capability show up all over the product. Guys, that was it from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then we will pause here for questions.
Question on the AI, Paddy. Is it
Yes,
running
sir.
GPT-4.
It's running ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo is the model that it's using at the moment. ChatGPT, the reason it's not running ChatGPT 4 is ChatGPT 4 is still a lot slower than 3.5, and you get less tokens to you in the free tier than you do in 3.5. I think it's inevitable that we'll move up to ChatGPT 4 in the coming months as that becomes the standard rather than 3.5 Turbo. By the way, I should mention this has been architected in such a way where it's kind of insert model here, because this is too early, right? We don't know if Google's going to be the winners in this space in a year's time. Google Bard is really coming on fast. It's getting better every day. Google's are the OG of this whole thing, right? They have DeepMind, which is the best AI team in the business. So don't be surprised if Google come up the rear here in a 6 months' time. They're killing everybody else. I think that's a real possibility. So I think we have to keep an open mind when we're architecting this. So it's architected in such a way where in the future, if you want to power this using Bard from Google or Lambda from Facebook, then it will be insert model here.
And just going back to the abandoned carts, it's a question around how EvoX recognizes what's an abandoned cart rather than just goods left in a cart for a day or for a week or something like that.
Exactly, and we kind of covered that a little bit. That's why you want to set up these audiences. So I think you're kind of making that decision ahead of time. You're like, right, if the customer meets this criteria, I kind of know something about this group now. I know the audience I'm dealing with. So based on the fact that I've got the context of the audience, I then set up a communication cadence that I think is the right cadence for that audience. Then I can set a different cadence for a different audience. So I don't think it's going to catch everybody, and I don't think it's going to be perfect every time. But I think you're going to intimately know the customers, and you're going to know who can handle more pestering to finish a cart versus who doesn't really want to see that, and you don't want to hit them up too often. So I think you're using your judgment there, but being able to create these audiences is definitely going to help. Is there anything else, guys?
Just one, I think, harken back to the Horizon integration. Are we going to be adding extra delivery options that will link to a corresponding option in Horizon? So the example here is something like pre-12 deliveries.
So do you want Horizon to control the delivery options on checkout rather than the business logic in EvoX? Because if you do, we think
that was it, Paddy.
Sorry, Andy. I'll let you finish that.
Some of these I replied to, Ben, but I'm not sure if the messages have been getting through. So you're right there, Paddy. So it's possible, right? We need an endpoint in Horizon, and this could be a future development idea. As long as there's an endpoint for us to call a delivery method that's available to the customer, and we can do it in real time in the checkout, there's nothing to stop us making that a future use case. It could be an idea we put out there. How many people want that? Would it be useful? It's a really good suggestion. Really good.
Yeah. Guys, we will be reaching out to everybody real soon, because I think we've kind of taken this as far as it can go, and we kind of want you guys to steer the next wave of development. Our job will be to react to that quickly and keep the ball rolling. But you guys will have the best ideas about where we need to take it next. So based on that, when I reach out to you and I invite you to come up and spend time with us at the office, if you can make that happen, and Horizon and EvoX is an important part of your business, do me a favor, take the time out and come and spend the day with us. We're in radar mode, we're in satellite mode, we're all ears, we're super open to engage. We'll serve you up the finest deluxe sandwiches and coffee. Come spend the day with us. Tell us how you want this to go. How do you want to steer it? Where do you want it to go next? And it'll be our job to go away and build that stuff. Any reasonable time. Turn it around quickly is what our commitment is going to be. But come talk to us. Let's engage. Let's figure out where we need to take it next.